everybody. Welcome to the Bulldog Breakdown with Coach Rocco. And, well, we got a special guest. Coach, you want to introduce?
Well, this is our player of the game.
Player of the game.
No, this is my daughter, Jennifer, my pride and joy, and she comes all the way from Guatemala to be here with us today.
We bring in the guests. We
Honored
spare no
here.
expense for the Bulldog Breakdown. So welcome to the Bulldog
Thanks
Breakdown.
so much for having me. I'm excited.
This is going to be great. We are excited to be with you this afternoon, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this. We know you guys love tuning in, love hearing from you. We got a lot to talk about today, but today was a unique day. We sat down with the boys in the locker room, and Coach shared some news with them, and we want to share it with you as well because it's going to get out, and I think you want to share news. So talk to us a little about what's going on.
Yeah, so Bulldog Nation, today I've been going through some physical ailments for a while now and been doing some testing, and had a final appointment today where it was detected that I have a very rare blood disorder, and will begin treatments here ASAP. Actually had one treatment today. It is in the cancer family, although we're not calling it cancer, but the treatments will be cancer-esque, if you will. And I'm trusting God has got this under control, and I shared it with the boys today and kind of did a team prayer, and we're going to move on. So wanted people to know directly from me that that we don't feel that it's life-ending kind of a thing, but it is something that cannot be cured, and I'll be dealing with it for the rest of my life. But I feel I'm in good hands and have loved ones around supporting me, and it's going to be good.
Yeah. I know we don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
But I will say Bulldog Nation, and actually all of you, we know that many of you that are not part of Bulldog Nation, but you tune in, we appreciate you, Coach. And so there's going to be a lot of people praying for you, and I'm sure you'll hear messages from this. Yeah. But he just wanted to get that out there. That's what it is. So if you hear about it, you can say, we heard it first on the Bulldog Breakdown.
Yeah.
Coach, let's, while you have Jenn right here, let's talk a little bit about this, because actually got to spend some time with Jenn and her family down in Guatemala.
Yeah.
Not just us. You were able to take several of the guys down last year.
Yeah.
So Jenn, tell us a little bit about Coach here, coaching football in little Lynchburg, Virginia. How did you wind up in Guatemala?
Good question. Sometimes thinking about all the details, it's definitely a God story for sure. So I actually was living in Charlottesville, Virginia after I finished at Liberty University and was teaching high school there. And then the Lord called me to take a year off of teaching in Charlottesville and go teach English in a small little rural area in Guatemala called Zacapa. Hot.
It's hot.
Dad visited me a couple times there. It's a hot place.
The dry corridor right there.
Yeah. But then shortly, I thought it was going to be 9 months to a year, but then the Lord quickly started to show me that it was going to be for a lot longer. And so here I am. My husband's from Guatemala. We got married. We have 2 little girls, and we're working with a church down there in Guatemala, my husband and I. So, but glad that we get to come up here, and we're actually going to get to see a game. Don't get to see one this week because it's the bye week, but going to get to see one. We come back, I think it's Halloween week that we come back. I'm going to get to see a game a little bit later, but it's kind of in short my Guatemala story.
So how long have you been there?
I've been there now going on 10 years.
10 years.
It's crazy. We'll be 10 years this coming year.
So, Coach, I want to hear this a little bit from your perspective. So
we have a different story.
So it's funny. I actually asked him this, and it's really neat. Coach, a little bit from your perspective, your girl goes down there to go on a mission trip, a little bit of an extended mission trip, and then tell me how does this play out for you?
The way she kind of presented it.
Well, I'm trying to make it short.
Yeah, that it was going to be just a school year because she was teaching up in Monticello High School in Charlottesville, and so my wife and I, we felt like we can certainly support this one school year.
Short-term trip.
Yeah, short-term trip. But then she came home on a break. I forget if it was Easter or it was one of the holidays. She came home, and we started sensing that something was going a little off kilter with the plan, you know. And sure enough, the day before she got back on the plane to go back, she kind of shared with us that this was starting to become a little bit more than just the 9-month school year. She was working in an orphanage down there, which was, you know, utilizing her teaching skills within that school there.
Right.
But it was becoming much bigger than that.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
So you waited till right before getting on. Like,
It was
by the way, it might be a little bit longer.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was, you know, waiting for me back here in Lynchburg.
Yeah.
There were even like potential kind of job opportunities, and really what would be a dream job for me here in Lynchburg, but what the Lord had was better. It's harder. Yeah. It's harder sometimes to say yes and to believe that He has a plan, but just trusted Him through it, and seeing now 10 years later and what the Lord has done, it's definitely was the right yes.
So what is it that you and your husband do in Guatemala with the church?
So we actually helped to pastor a church there in Guatemala City. We started off, and we've now been on staff, I think, going on 7 years with a church that started in one area in Guatemala, and we just launched another campus 2 years ago in Guatemala City. So we have the honor of helping to pastor, but also I work with the kids program, again, kind of using my teaching background. But yeah, super fun. We love it.
That's awesome. Now, last year, not this summer, but the previous summer, Coach, you were able to take several of our guys down to Guatemala, and it was kind of neat to get off the plane and see that. What was that like for you, Coach, to take some of your football players to and be in a different arena with them?
Yeah, I think we actually talked about this at a podcast last year. We had, I think, 8 of our players and then a couple adults went along with us. And, yeah, it was a life-changing experience for a lot of those guys. And I've been down there multiple times just visiting Jenn and helping her in her ministry. And just, you know, what your eyeballs see for the first time is really an impactful experience. And so we still have probably half of the group that went with us last year. 4 of them have graduated, but 4 of them are still on the team. So we still talk about that often and utilize those experiences in real life, you know, even in football and experiences kids are having in school and what have you. So we still talk about it often.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it was the cause of the state championship, but I'm just going to say you went on a mission trip, and that was next. But
inspiring.
That was a neat little connection, too,
That's
because when Coach and I first started talking about doing this trip, I was connected with Todd and Maureen Erickson down there, which he didn't know that. And I said, we're taking this trip, and we got to go down with these people. And he goes, well, we know people down there, too. And eventually I said, well, the guy I know is Todd. He goes, the guy I know is Todd, too. And come
and they
find
married
out.
My husband and I.
He performed the wedding for you guys. And he was my youth pastor when I was a kid. So it's amazing how that thing turns around. Well, it's really neat that you're up here. And if you're cool, just hanging with us a little bit. I want to talk about the football game and stuff.
Sure.
I'm sure growing up you've heard your share about football.
Totally.
Because this last week, it was a big week. This is one that you know that Salem had circled on the calendar after we went into Salem last year and played an incredible game and walked away with a win. But if I'm going to be honest, I mean, I was excited about it. But one of the things that I heard on the radio and heard some people say is that LCA snuck out of there with a win. Yeah. You know, LCA came and stole a win out of Salem that we really shouldn't have won that one. And I don't know, maybe you looked at that game and said we shouldn't have won that one. But what an exciting time. So you know that they circled that, also knowing that LCA hadn't lost a game in our new stadium. Yeah. They probably had that one circled. This is the game we're going to go and do that. And, of course, we had it on there, too, that this is a chance to say that wasn't a fluke. Yeah. So Salem comes in, and we walk away with a 14-point victory. What's your overall thought of the game overall? And then I got a couple things that I want to ask you about the game.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, it was a tremendous accomplishment to beat Salem 2 years in a row. I don't know that happens very often. And, you know, the fact that we were able to go in there and beat them last year and then validate it again this year, you know, was a special accomplishment. And although, you say maybe I didn't feel we should win last year because of performance this year or whatever. Coaches always, they see all the bad things that happen, but they overlook the W sometimes. And for us to get 2 wins against a quality team like that right out of the gate is really hopefully going to set us on a good trajectory this year.
There's a couple plays in the game that really stood out to me as game-changing type things. First one for me really is early in the game we have a punt block.
It was a field goal.
A field goal block. That's right.
Yeah.
And running all the way back down to the 20. Yeah. They're on the verge of going in to score. We hold them, so now they're gonna kick a field goal. It's gonna be 7-3. Right. Next thing you know, we're on the 20-yard line. Tell me what a play like. First of all, tell me about that play, what you saw, and then what does a play like that do in terms of momentum for the game?
Did you watch that?
I did. I watched the whole thing from Guatemala.
She watched the stream.
Wow, international stream, big time.
Ironically, they had on an extra point protection team. You have 2 guys that you call wings off on the edge, and their job is to just make the edge long, so that you really had to run around it. And we noticed that their right wing was a shorter, squattier guy. It wasn't real long. And so as he leaned in to protect the inside gap, he's got very short legs. We had Jelly and then James Deo. One went on the inside gap and one cut the corner on the outside gap and bend it. And both those guys arrived at the ball at the same time and, pick it up, I forget, probably 40 or 50-yard gain and put the ball down on their 20. So, like you said, it went from a potential of a 7-3 game. We stopped them altogether, no score, and then we end up on our own 20-yard line with the potential to go in for another score, which we ended up doing and making it 14-0.
So it could have been 7-3, but it ends up 14-0. Yeah. On top of the fact that they had a pretty good drive to get down to that point, and it stalled. So in terms of team morale, momentum, all of that, what's it like on the sideline when, first of all, with the punt block, with the play calling? Are you looking to go for?
And the thing that also goes unnoticed is that they're a very explosive team. So we really prepped our defense all week that if they're going to get anything out of us, we got to make them go the distance of the field, make them go 12, 13, 14 play drives. If they can do it and score on us, well, more power to them. But so they went on a 12 play drive and then kicked the field goal and we blocked it. So in essence, we made them do what we wanted them to do. And then to keep them from even scoring was a bonus. And then to give us a short field on the other end and then be able to go in and make it 14-0 was playing right into our hands.
We talked in preparing for this game, Tyler Jackson, young guy coming in, facing Salem. That can't be overstated because that's a big deal. Carrying on his back, really the whole team is there, but you're the quarterback of a state championship football team with very, very high expectations, and one of the state's premier programs comes in. I'm sure there's things that he's learning and needing to grow from that performance, but for me to see a young guy be so composed throughout the game and then to throw his first official varsity touchdown there, tell me what you saw in him.
Yeah, he has been an absolute blast to coach. The moxie and the composure, as you said, is uncanny. We joke the kid still's got his baby teeth. He really does. No. He still has got baby teeth, and he's playing varsity football.
I thought you were kidding there. I thought it was a figure of speech. She's like, no, really, the tooth fairy is going to be coming this season.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So we just watched the game film today, and he was sitting next to me, and we kind of critique each play as it happens. And the first series, he was a little bit nervous.
He was nervous,
He threw one behind and into the ground, and then. And I said, you were a little nervous there, weren't you? And he said, yeah, I just had to get through that first series. And then once he got through the first series, it was all on, it was on, But yeah, he is just such a fun kid, and on his touchdown pass, I mean, he turns to the crowd and he's going, and making muscle. I mean, he has got a lot of energy as a young 14-year-old kid, 15. I don't even know what he is. He's becoming a leader on our team, vocal leader, and the guys are supporting him for the unique situation that he's found himself in. And the guys are responding, and he is responding, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all plays out.
What an investment to be able to provide him an opportunity. I mean, it's a really unique situation in the players that you have around him to allow him to develop as a freshman.
Yeah.
And learn this leadership, because even as a young guy, people are going to look at the position for leadership and not necessarily worry about whether he's 14 or 15. If he can lead, let's go.
Yeah, who cares?
Let's go. I like that play in particular because as he turned, his option wasn't open right away.
Yeah.
Like the throw wasn't there.
That's right.
And you could see as he moved his way to his left, he was looking for that thing to open up, and just at the right time. Of course, Jackson
Damon does a great job keeping himself alive and working to an open spot. So it was total team effort. And Jackson Damon's a brand new guy. You know, he didn't play since his middle school year, and I mean, we're so thankful to have him come back out, and I think he's very thankful to be out as well.
Of course, Salem can't get him down, but he runs over the side. Hudson Reed knocks him over.
I saw that
on the big. We would be remiss without bringing in Gideon into this. 29 rushes, 289 yards, and I mean, he did have a 50-yard break that he broke out, but really those rushes, when you talk about an 8-yard, 9-yard average for the night, it was literally every time he touched the ball, it was 8 or 9 yards.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing in totality is our offensive line is still trying to figure things out. They did a much better job, and each week we've gotten a little better. Once they totally figure it out, and Gideon with the ball, I mean, it's going to be another hard thing to stop, just like it was last year.
It's not out of place to say that out of that 289 yards, probably 200 of it is after contact.
Yeah,
because he's hitting that lining and linebacker, and he's scraping off and hitting. It's crazy.
Right.
Jim, when you're watching this game, knowing that it's a big game and all that, what's it like being that far away? Are you guys cheering and yelling?
Oh, totally. My daughters call him, so obviously we speak Spanish in Guatemala, they call him Papa Grande, like Big Papa, right? And so they're always, Papa Grande, Papa Grande. To be honest, my girls definitely watch more my dad. They're like, where's Papa Grande on the sideline? They're not really watching football as much, but it's fun to be able to watch from afar and be able to then call and, good job. The quarterback did awesome, and it's always fun to be able to watch when we can internationally.
Yeah, that's cool. We got to put that somewhere on the broadcast. It's an international broadcast. Like, we have fans in other countries now. So we win a game. It was really cool to see everybody gather in the middle. Looked like some of them came in there together. A lot of respect between the two programs, but this is a big victory. You're going into an off day, and then on to Franklin County. How do you harness the all the good things out of this victory? All those things, the momentum. How do you move on without letting this be the state championship?
I mean, our coaching staff has always done a good job with that. Keeping the main thing, and I think we got to get back into shape again too. I think we've gotten our big guys have gotten a little bit out of shape, and so we ran
too many of Andy's burgers over here.
Yeah, we've ran hard today, and we'll run every day this week and get ourselves back into shape. We were in really good shape coming out of the summer, but once you're in camp, you kind of back off of it a little bit and trusting that the day-to-day is going to keep the aerobics up. But so that'll be number one, and we still have a lot of things to correct, and so we'll really focus on making some corrections.
Yeah. How does what do you do? And we've talked about this before, but we've got new viewers, so we have to keep educating.
Right.
And you've got 2 weeks. Usually, the rhythm is game, the
Right.
film, and then you start working towards Friday, and then Friday's here.
Right.
There is no Friday this week.
Yeah.
What do you do to spread that over 2 weeks?
Yeah, we typically will give them off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which Sunday we never do anything anyway, but Saturday we're usually reviewing the game film from the night before and then, doing a preliminary game plan for the next week. And then Monday is big time install of the game plan, and we condition hard and do a walkthrough of the things that we think we're going to do. Well, this week we haven't really thought much about Franklin County yet. We're still just trying to get better from from this past week. So today was a conditioning day. We watched the game film from the Salem game. Tomorrow will be an offensive day. Thursday will be a defensive day, and again, conditioning a lot. And we'll probably give them off Friday again. We're still debating on Saturday, but we may give them another long weekend and then come back Monday with a full scouting report and get on to Franklin County.
Franklin County. Speaking of that, that's a big program. We played them the last 2 years and played them really well. Last year was the rain game here. That was the opening game. Yeah. And so we had that long break in the middle, but really two solid victories for LCA to play a big school like Franklin County, come away with wins. That's no slight in itself. I mean, Salem's big, but that's big too. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your preparation. I know it's a long way off, but what you see in Franklin County, what we're looking towards.
Yeah, we know, as you said, we've played them before, so we know these guys a little bit. And I always really enjoy playing over at Franklin County. They got it's
a wonderful stadium.
Big, like old-fashioned kind of stadium. Their support base there really is passionate about their football. They'll pack the stadium, I would think, with us coming in there. They beat Bassett on Friday night in a big way, so they're already 1-0, and they play Salem next on Friday night. So we'll get a chance to see how that stacks up. But it won't be an easy one for sure, and hopefully we'll be ready to go.
It's a little bit of a ride out to Franklin County, but people can get their tickets online, and I've been impressed with how LCA travels pretty well, and you really should travel. It's going to be a great game. I don't know that you're going to be able to make it. It's a little bit of a drive.
We watch you online.
Be watching it online, definitely. So before we get out of here, let's kind of circle back a little bit. We haven't made plans for the summer yet, but it is coming. And so would taking another group of students be something you would consider?
Love to, definitely, and like maybe split it up half with a group that you might be taking, and then maybe we can do half the time with ministry opportunities with her church. So she's in Guatemala City. We did a lot in Antigua when you were there. So definitely look forward to doing something again.
Yeah. Jenn, what's that like when a group? I mean, obviously when Dad comes down, that's really cool.
Totally.
But when groups come down to serve alongside of you guys, what does that do for your ministry and for you?
Oh, it's so cool. I feel like knowing what the experience they're going to gain, the perspective they're going to gain, like you talked about. Because I know my first trip, we were looking at a photo of me, my first trip to Guatemala, which was I think in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. But knowing just from a week what the experience I gained coming back, perspective change, all the things. And so I think I see that when a group comes, not as much, they're going to help with all these things, although that's nice. But I just think like, wow, they're going to go back being changed and just having a different perspective. So
nice.
Super cool.
We'll keep tuned. As soon as we know that we're going to do something like that, we'll let you guys know. If you have a high school student that would like to go and be a part of it, come down. It's one of the most amazing places on earth. I'm kind of partial to it. My daughter's from Guatemala, so we'd love to do that. And hey, it is a bye week, but those go by really fast. So mark your calendars for not this Friday, but next Friday. We'll head down to Franklin County and watch the Bulldogs go to another victory I believe, Coach. I know you can't say that out loud, but that's what we believe. We know it's going to happen. We've had a great time. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, thanks for
It's
having
been a really cool Bulldog Breakdown. Coach, everybody's praying for you.
Thank you.
We'll keep you updated if necessary when, but other than that, just keep praying for him and go Dogs.